Anything to say?
You should totally subscribe to this channel and leave your comments on what you want to see.
Ooh, I like it. I like it.
Hey, we're matching Silkies, dude. Are those Zero Fox?
No, these are, what are they, Sophie? They're like the original brand.
Huh.
Plain Jane. Plain Jane Silkies.
Plain Jane Silkies. Nice.
Honestly, they've changed my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Silkies. Silkies will do that.
Bought like 6 pairs of silk.
It's a lot of Silkies. 6 pairs?
Yeah.
I would say like $30 a pop.
No, dude. I bought a bundle pack for like, I think it came out to like $9 a piece.
Whoa, okay. Hold on. Real quick. Let's pause.
I could show you.
Show me. We're going to catch it on the screen right here. Boom. Or actually, technically, it would be... Boom. All right. Where do you buy this at?
Amazing. Amazon.
Oh. Amazon. I hate Amazon. But, gosh, Amazon is like...
It's good when you just need a bunch of junk.
Yeah, it's the new Wish, and it's the lowest bidder wins. It's the new military.
Wish was never successful.
No, and I think Amazon copying their business strategy is...
Was Wish before Amazon?
They were definitely before Wish, because Amazon was originally a book. It was, you could just get books off Amazon.
That's right. Oh my God, if that doesn't bring me back too long ago.
Dude, it's amazing. It's just like, it's amazing to see successful people grow, and it's like, and it's always the people that weren't born with the money that are like the most successful. You know, the people with disabilities, and it's like, because they know how to think outside the box. People that brought up with money, they don't know how to.
No, I grew up in an area with a lot of people with money.
Oh yeah.
It keeps my legs warm.
Oh, good. Yeah. No, seriously, like in the winter, bro, it's like 20 out.
Come here.
Yeah, dude. Dude, instantly, it's like a blanket. Dude, you want to hear the story about the time I thought I had herpes for a year?
Sure. Actually, that sounds interesting.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like, it's one of those stories like a lot of people wouldn't share, wouldn't talk about, but it's like, you can't always trust doctors, and you have to get a second result, especially if you feel something fishy going on. So this is what happened, man.
I started pissing fire one day.
Nah.
Said something might be wrong.
Lit scene, boom, get back from my road trip from my Jeep to California. I'm talking to this girl like over Facebook or whatever the whole time. I meet her. She doesn't really look. She's a lot bigger than, I thought she was. But I was like, whatever. And I'm not.
That scenario.
Yeah, but I was like 170 something. So I was like 40 pounds heavier than I was then.
Jesus.
And well, I was drinking half fit a day.
I know. I'm amazed that that's 40 pounds heavier than you are now.
I'm 131. I weighed myself yesterday and I was like 134. I was like, you son of a bitch. It was like June 23rd. Because June 24th was this Cool Desert Nights, like this car show, right? And, like I was going to bring my car there. I haven't brought it since the whole time I've been in the military. So this is like the first time in like 6-7 years. So anyways, I sleep with her. The next day I get sick, right? And I'm just like, and I feel like crap, bro. And so, Cusco's a big distraction for me. Okay, so I feel like crap. I'm trying to drive my car like around this classic car show, and I'm having to cut it early, right? So I go home. I'm feeling like crap. The next day, I'm just like, man, I better go to the doctor, get tested, just see if I'm sick. And so I go to the doctor. He's like, hey, you have a viral infection. Cusco, come here. Come on. Cusco, come on. Come here. He needs to listen. All right, he's going outside. Go outside. Come on. Nope, he didn't listen. Let's go outside. All right, I got the SpongeBob story pillow. I guess and I get back. I get sick of the car show, and then
Stop at the doctor. Yeah. Viral infection,
right? And so I'm just like, okay, cool. I get better, and then I see this spot on my dick, but I just had shaved.
Where on?
It was like the lower part of the shaft.
Lower shaft.
Yeah, like kind of like on the skin, but kind of like lower,
The base of the.
Yeah, exactly. The base of the spear. And but I just got done shaving, and I didn't use like a normal. I don't know what I used. it was just things that just one of those coincidences. So I go to the doctor and I'm just like, hey man, I slept with this girl, like, and I got the spot on my dick, like, what's going on? And yeah, and so it's this chick doctor. This is another chick doctor. There's like 2 or 3 chicks in this room, and I'm just like, oh my god, just looking at my dick. Oh yeah, and the best part, there's this picture on the side of the wall, and I have a picture of it somewhere, and it's a farmer, and these plants are all growing, these like red ball looking things, and it looks like this herpy plant. And like, there's a bunch of herpy plants on this like farmer. And I was like, that's a great thing to have in a doctor's office when I'm trying to see if I have herpes or not. A fucking herpy plant tree farm picture. They swab it. So they're like, okay, you're gonna know within a certain amount of time. And she's like, I can't give you like 100% positive. So I was like, all right, cool. So I wait, and then the test results came back. They called me within like a day or two. And then she calls me and she's like, yeah, you have herpes simplex B or 2 or whatever, which was dick herpes.
Dick herpes. Yeah. Not the chicken pox.
Yeah. Not on the lip, like dick. And I was like,
ouch.
Dude, my whole world
crashed.
Yeah, just dropped. That feeling in your heart just goes. And then I remember sitting at my family dinner table that night, I just heard the news and I was like,
Mom, I have dick herpes.
I was just like, just trying to like have a happy face and like, everything's normal, like, And so this went on for like months, right? And me thinking this, but nothing ever, it just went away, right? So months went by, and it was like 8 months to a year went by. I called my sister and I was like, hey man, if you had dick herpes, aren't you supposed to get it like once a month? Isn't it supposed to be like crazy and the worst pain you ever imagined, this and that? Because I looked it up.
Flare-ups or whatever.
Exactly. And it's supposed to be more common when you first get it. And she's like, yeah. And I was like, well, this is what happened. And then I told her, and I was like, I haven't had one. And she's like, well, you should probably get tested. I was like, yeah. And so I say another 6 months went by. So actually about a year and a half, right? And I didn't date this whole time. And then I started dating this girl, and I was like, I need to go get tested. Because I told her what happened, but I was like, I haven't had anything for a year and a half, so I don't know if it's actually real or not. And so I go to the VA, and I was like, hey, man, look, this is what happened. I explained it to her, and she's like, okay. Then they test me. Test results come back. They test me everything but dick herpes. And I was like, are you freaking kidding me? I told you to test me for just that. And she's like, she's some like, I don't know, some Ukraine doctor or something. And so I was like, I want to get tested again. And she's like, well, you can't keep it in your pants? I was like, no, it's because you screwed up. So then she tested me a second time, came back negative. So I lived with a year and a half thinking I had dick herpes when I didn't. And then I ended up getting it tested a third time, negative. And so I'm just going to tell you, you cannot trust the results you get the first time. So it was positive from the civilian, negative from the VA, negative from a civilian.
So let me tell you about the second time I contracted HPV.
Right.
I meant to say HIV. But we can talk about current events.
Yeah, what's current event? I don't.
What is current? Economy's in the dump.
Yep.
Everything's too pricey.
Yep.
Russia's still sucking nuts.
Yep.
Oh, they're looking antsy now. Looking like they're trying to launch a little tactical nuke.
Oh, really?
No. Oh, actually,
who knows? Because the U.S. filters pretty much everything. So the Russia could be twiddling their thumbs.
I feel like every country's big government filters what their fucking people are seeing. I mean, well, China, easily. China's just like, here's 10% of the internet we want you to see. So there you go.
And then probably U.S. is right below China, and then you got Russia. I'm just saying, like, it's bad, and especially over Snapchat and stuff like that. If you say anything about the government over Snapchat and do it on public story, they will not show it. Yeah, it'll get 0 views.
I love the government.
Oh, I love it. It's like that Safeway shooting that was in Bend like a month ago. You know?
Yeah, that was pretty recent.
Yeah, that was interesting because they would take all the false stories and run with that. But anyone that had a question about it, which is pretty much everyone in Bend, dude. When you go to the gym, everyone's like, "Man, that Safeway shooting was BS." I mean, it's like, but the cops won't come out with a story because they're trying to do that magazine ban right now in Oregon to 10 rounds, same as California.
Yeah, I lived in New York, Connecticut, Same thing, 10-round magazine.
Which is funny because they found out California is unconstitutional, and so they're actually fighting that right now. Doesn't California have the highest school shooting rate in like the whole country?
I think they just have the highest, shooting rate, crime.
And they have the strictest gun laws.
Yes.
Hey, what's up, man?
Next to Chicago.
Doing a little.
Morning.
It's my roommate.
We're having some weird silky session morning.
If you want to grab a pair, just let me know, man. I got some extras.
Do you live entirely with pilots?
Yeah.
Is this just a house full of pilots?
Yeah. I was a pilot once. Oh, sorry. Okay, pilot in training.
That's PIT.
PIT. Pilot training's fun, and a lot of people don't know that the GI Bill covers 100% of it. I mean, you're talking $5,000 just in flying, and then you're not counting even the school portion of it, and they cover 100% from baby all the way up to commercial, and then you got flight instructor after that, and they just. But for me, I was hospitalized for anxiety in the Air Force. There's a point where you have to call it.
Well, I call it quits.
Yeah, and it's not calling it quits because it's too hard. You never do that ever, but you call it quits when it's jeopardizing your safety, and you have to know yourself, man. Because I was on that runway about to solo, and I was perfectly still, man. I mean, I wasn't twitching at all, but I knew just myself. I'm a stress-free kind of person, and there's certain things that
Flying a plane is not the most stress-free thing.
Man, it is stressful. Yeah, it's insane, man. But it's and it's just. I mean, once you get a hold of it, it's not as stressful. But the thing is like I think they say 90-something% of crashes are human error. I mean, pretty much all. And so and then
It's the landing part that always like confused me.
Yeah.
I was just like, I bet taking off's not terrible. I'm like, I feel like landing is probably
and they always say, oh, well, planes just fly themselves. No, they don't. People say, yeah, when you're up at 40,000 feet, they do. When you're landing, I mean, yeah, there's certain control systems, but you are on the controls landing that plane.
Like when you drive like a stick shift and they're like, once you get going, it's easy. And you're like, yeah, of course it's easy once everything's in fucking motion.
You're in the air, you're gliding. That engine can quit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can actually fly backwards, believe it or not. If the wind's blowing against you hard enough, and then flying fast enough this way just to get lift, and you can actually fly backwards. You can actually go backwards and still stay in the air.
It's kind of dope.
Yeah, it is weird, but a certain point that you just got him. And that was my point, man. And then 2 weeks after I called it and everyone gave me crap about it, I got a letter in the mail from the FAA saying, you can't fly anymore. We're calling it. And it's a good thing I called it because I was just about to solo. Like, I was literally on the runway and I was like, nah. And I called it. Some people, man, they have this pride issue. Man, that's how you get killed.
You know what I read about last night? Or like I saw this thing. It's in the news. It's remember that whole Black Lives Matter? It was, I guess they found out that the chick or the dude, whoever like is the owner of the organization, or like started it, was like using all the money to buy themselves like a yacht or a mansion, cars, like totally took in millions of dollars for this movement and just like hooked themselves up. And then when like everyone found this out recently, they like tried to like protest at their house, like not. The lady's like, I don't feel safe. People trying to like hurt me.
In the United States, you have to put your race on your application. Why?
You know what? Best thing last night. I was watching old episodes of South Park, and it was the episode where they want to change their town flag. Because the South Park town flag was like these 4 white stick figures hanging a black one, and they asked the kids, they're like, "Do you think we should change it?" And they're like, "No." And they're like, "Why?" And they're like, "Well, it's just a picture of people killing some guy, and we've killed someone our entire history. We've killed people, so like, why does it really matter?" And they were like, "Oh my god, these kids don't see it as 4 white guys hanging a black guy. They just see it as 5 people."
Yeah.
And I was just like, yeah, imagine that.
100%.
But I mean, we're white, so it doesn't matter what we think.
Well,
You'd be like,
yeah.
I don't view people by race. And they're like, well, you're white, so
Yeah, but Asians are more racist than
I was
Asians.
like, Asians are like fucking.
Yeah, they're vicious to other Asians.
Can I even say that? Is it Orientals?
Oh my gosh. Everyone's offended by everything now. I'm just like, you know what? If you're offended, you have the problem. You know what I'm saying? You like,
If you're from the continent of Asia, Asiatic continent.
Yeah,
there you go.
Asiatic. Yeah.
I'm from North America.
Yeah. Well, no, there's this chick at my work. Both of her parents come from South Africa, right? Which is like a British colony down there. They
Yeah.
moved to America, so they are African American.
Touche, technically, yeah.
They are more African American than the
Africans.
African Americans in the United States, because the African Americans in the United States are Americans because they didn't come from Africa. But the fact that we label as African Americans just says that we are the most racist country in the world, bro.
Yeah, I don't know why the race thing matters. Or non-Hispanic. Why is that even a
On the
class?
news?
You're
Black
not-
engineer, Hispanic engineer. It's just like, you don't say white engineer. It's just like, or, it's just
Fuck,
black cop. He's a cop.
It's just a cop. Damn it, I'm gonna be
Bam.
an engineer in like a year.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna write engineer. Actually, in fact, it might not even work as one. You know what? I've honestly lately, I know you do this. I've really thought about what's going to increase the prosperity and happiness in my life.
Dude, yep, that's exactly why I do this show. So tell me.
I've also learned slot machines and stock market are not where I'm going to make my financial future.
No, not unless it crashes again. But
It's crashing now. I watch it every couple days, and I'm just like, yep, Titanic's going down again.
you know what's funny, man, is like a year and a half ago, post on Facebook, and I said I expect the stock market to get to 18,000. I'm talking the Dow.
The Dow.
Yeah, to 18,000. And everyone's like, oh man, you know it all, because this is like 32, 33, 34, whatever it was, 35,000. And I'm just like, guys, this is all artificially inflated. Because I was a car dealer. I saw all these car dealers are playing hot potato with their cars, and then they're going to be crying to the government once the stock market crashes, because they're playing this stupid-ass game of, I want money, 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 and everyone's stupid enough to buy a car right now. But the thing...
I want to buy a house right now, and I'm just like, is it the right time?
No.
I know interest rates are about to pop up again in like a month.
It's just like, I mean, it's as easy as looking back to 06, actually before that, because the stock crashed in about 08, but you could see it coming back in like 03.
Yeah.
You could see it coming. These guys are just waiting and waiting and waiting. Have you seen Big Short?
Yeah.
The same thing's happening right now, but people are too stupid to see it. Or the dealerships are. Oh yeah, the audio cut out last time. All the dealerships are building brand new buildings because they're just gonna write it off on the tax returns when the stock market crashes.
So I was on I don't want to go into specifics. I was in the Reddit community since like 2015, and I used to work at the first like decent job I had. I used to work with dudes that were like on that, like always on penny stock market, blah blah blah. I was like, I mean, kids are smarter now, but I was like 21, and I was like, that shit's gay. But I'd go like entertain their conversations and stuff. So probably a couple years later, I was out here and I was just like, saw the game. I mean, I don't know if you know what happened to GameStop.
Oh, yeah.
But I kept seeing them talk about it online, and I was just like looking at it, and I was just like, oh my god, this thing's like it's like $8 for a share of GameStop. And I think I joined Robinhood, and that was like the free stock they gave me. I was like, oh, I got a share of GameStop.
Yeah. Which Robinhood will rip you off.
Yes. But I saw that thing, so I was just like, hey, you know what? Fuck it. It made like these people do this shit all the time. Maybe it's worth getting into. So I took $2,000, put it into GameStop. It's worth like $10 at the time.
Nice.
And I remember I got to work one morning, and I watched it. It was like, went from 10 to like 20 in a day, and I was like, oh man, dude, I got like $4,000. Next day it was at like 40, and I was like, oh my dude, I got like $8,000. And then it was like right there, it just boom up to, I think it hit like 400 something. I paid off my student loans. Like at the time, I think I have a screenshot on my phone. I was like, by the time I pulled it out, I was like, dude, I put in $2,000 and I got like fucking $58,000 out of it. And I was just like, this is the craziest thing in my fucking life. So like, I withdrew like 30 of it, paid off any debt I had from college, kept the rest in, and I was just like, I mean, then it all went downhill because then I just kept following. And I'm like, oh, this is gonna do this, and I was like, loss. All right, hey, we lost it all, but hey, you know what?
You paid it off.
Got some of my student loans paid off. Now, seeing as that was 2020, probably should have kept the student loans and just bought a fucking house. When rates were like cheap as shit and everything started skyrocketing.
Yeah,
you got right at the beginning of that.
But shoot, man, no student loans though, man.
Yeah,
good for you. Nice.
That was like, dude, I like, oh my god, dude. But it's kind of like gambling. I mean, no, it 100% is gambling. It's the taste for blood. Like when you have your first win.
Oh yeah.
And you're just like, oh my god, it's that easy? I could just like sit on my and be a fat and like the potential to make that kind of money is just there. Nancy Pelosi, they're just like, you know, hey, her and her husband are really good at insider trading. Just do whatever they do. Or there's this lady that Kathy Woods, who owns a hedge fund, and they're like, just inverse whatever she does. That guy on,
I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah, or what is his name? Jim Cramer. I forgot what he's on. CNBC or some shit. And they're just like, yep, do exactly the opposite of what he says. So he's like, yeah, markets are going to do great next year. And everyone's like, nope, inverse that. Short the shit out of everything. The original win. And I was just like, fuck.
You know, what my dad taught me was he said, now this is day trading. It's the 10-20 rule. If you lose more than 10, you pull out. Gain more than 20.
Pull out.
Yeah. It's like this 10-20 ratio or whatever. So, I invested in this company called Genius Brands. I don't know if you've ever heard of them.
I did the same thing.
No way, dude. So yeah, I remember I sold my Jeep, and it was a Jeep LJ. I sold it, put it in the stock market. My stimulus check, and maybe a little bit more.
Stimmy checks.
Stimmy check, dude. Slap that. Luckily, I had Fidelity.
Downy dollars.
Yeah, Downy dollars, dude. And I bought them, and it was like $4-something or whatever. And I forgot how much I put in, but that baby went up to like, I think it was 1163 or something like that. And I had like $6,000 or something like that. I pulled it out. Then it dropped down to like $7. I put it back in, dude. And I was like, yeah, dude. And then it just kept going down.
It's like $1.
No,
it was so embarrassing to watch all the trades on there. I was like, wow, no wonder even professionals that do this suck at it.
You know, and the funny thing is when this happens round 2, which it will, everyone can be millionaires. It's as easy as when you see something like that you know will go back up, like Costco.
Yeah, things that make
Walmart,
money. Amazon.
I
mean, maybe they're, I mean, they make money, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
they make money.
You could have, when the stock hit, I mean, Tesla, Starbucks, oil was negative. Okay, Macy's, I could have made a ton of money. Sunrun, any of these, you literally could get a dart and throw it on the wall, and just leave it, and you'll be a millionaire.
Yeah,
it's that easy. When it hits again, do not day trade, because this won't happen in everyone's lifetime. You just gotta throw a dart and stick with it.
No.